Max is not happy. I think the biggest rumours coming around are going to be Max to Mercedes, and I think everyone needs to get ready for that.
After the Japanese Grand Prix, Yuki Tsunoda probably thought he was living the dream, until Max Verstappen came along and crushed it without mercy.
But can you blame him? You know, Max obviously is a once-in-a-lifetime talent.
Max isn't just upset, he's boiling over Red Bull's reckless decision-making, calling Yuki's promotion less of an achievement and more of a disaster.
So just to have Yuki racing in the Red Bull family, Honda pay 10 million every year. They offered 10 million if Red Bull put him in at the start of the season.
Now the real question is, did Red Bull just pull off their greatest mistake yet by managing to actually irritate Max Verstappen? Main part, it all started after just 2 races. 2 races. That's all it took for Red Bull to hit full-blown panic mode and call an emergency meeting in Dubai. The reason? Their driver lineup.
And then they had a meeting in Dubai last weekend and said, we'll give you an extra 10 million if you put him in before Japan. So, yes, Liam did struggle in that car.
Cash!
Australia and China didn't go as planned, and instead of staying calm, Red Bull's leadership went straight into crisis mode.
There's definitely problems at Red Bull now because Max is not happy. Max is not happy with their decision to get rid of Liam after 2 races at all.
But what really turned heads wasn't the meeting itself, it was who wasn't in it. Max Verstappen, the face of the team, the guy carrying Red Bull on his shoulders for years, was not part of that decision-making table. That alone says everything.
I know it's a money sport, I know this happens.
While Max was left out, Christian Horner and other top bosses took matters into their own hands. And just like that, Liam Lawson was gone. No heads up, no discussion, not even a courtesy call to Max, who's supposed to partner with this driver.
That car is to drive. Obviously, he's just so good. I don't think it sets a very good precedence for like the whole team. In a way.
You'd think they'd at least consult the reigning world champion before making a move that directly affects him. But no, they sidelined Max and pulled the plug on Lawson without warning. That kind of move doesn't just raise eyebrows, it throws a spotlight on the growing cracks inside Red Bull's management. If they're shutting out the one person holding their season together, then something is seriously wrong.
I think Liam has been so unfairly treated. Like, it's crazy. I can't believe this is flying. The only reason it's flying on social and people are excited is because so many people love Yuki.
Now let's talk about what they did to Liam Lawson, because that was brutal. The guy stepped in, gave it everything he had in Australia and China, and yes, he struggled. But struggling in your first 2 races is normal. These are circuits he's never raced in F1 before. No testing, no rhythm, just straight into the fire. But instead of giving him the one track he did know, Suzuka, where he had raced in Super Formula, they dumped him before he even got to Japan. That's not just harsh, that's humiliating.
This is a real person, okay? Liam Lawson had never raced at Australia, never raced in China. He had a wet race and a sprint weekend. What are you expecting from the kid?
It's not like Lawson was miles off the pace either. He had 0 prep and was still getting used to a car that, even Max admitted, is tough to handle. And let's be clear here. Dumping a rookie after 2 races? That doesn't happen in modern F1. Not in top teams. Not without a massive scandal behind it. The way Yuki Tsunoda ended up with the Red Bull seat after Liam Lawson's sudden firing set the F1 world on fire. And not in a good way. Almost immediately after the Dubai meeting, where Lawson's fate was sealed, rumors started swirling that Yuki's promotion had little to do with performance and everything to do with favoritism, sponsorships, and nationality politics.
I've seen people saying he was get him out, last place, last place. Yes, he did struggle with the car. He literally was not given a chance. Thank God he's kept his seat at V-Carb, and I hope he comes out in Japan and shows everyone what he can do, because right now I am honestly gutted for him.
Several insiders pointed out the timing. The Japanese Grand Prix was next on the calendar, set to be held at Suzuka, a track where Honda, Red Bull's longtime engine partner, holds massive influence. It didn't take long for people to start connecting the dots. The whispers grew louder. Red Bull wanted a home hero at Suzuka. They needed someone with Japanese ties to boost local and please Honda executives. Yuki Tsunoda, born in Sagamihara, Kanagawa, and backed heavily by Honda since his early career days, fit the bill perfectly.
But since Adrian has left, the car hasn't been the same. And it does make you question, if Adrian had stayed, would have this all have happened?
The allegations didn't stop there. Motorsport insiders like Racing News 365 reported that Yuki may have some very powerful backers quietly lobbying for him behind the scenes. Honda's interest in keeping a Japanese driver in a visible role was no secret. Even after Tsunoda's mixed results over the past 4 years, he remained a priority for the Honda-Red Bull alliance. That raised eyebrows.
Any preseason testing, he hasn't done anything. He's going to be jumping in at P1 in his home race in the hardest car to drive.
Because in pure racing terms, Yuki had been consistently outperformed by his teammates, including Liam Lawson in head-to-head battles during their shared time at AlphaTauri, now Racing Bulls. Over 11 Grand Prix together in 2023, Yuki finished ahead of Lawson 6 times to Lawson's 4, and in qualifying, Yuki led by 11 to 4. Not a dominant stat line, but not enough to justify an instant Red Bull promotion either.
If there was ever a trigger in him, if there was ever a trigger in Max to want to leave that team, I think it's never been higher. And I can imagine that as soon as we get back in the next couple of weeks, I think the biggest rumors coming around are going to be Max to Mercedes.
Behind closed doors, things got even messier. Red Bull insiders leaked that Max Verstappen was reportedly furious about the decision. According to sources close to De Telegraaf, the leading Dutch national newspaper known for being extremely close to Max's camp, Max had made it clear he wanted the best teammate, not the most politically convenient one.
The situation at Red Bull, Max is actually available, which is kind of crazy.
He didn't want a driver picked because of where they were born or who sponsored them. He wanted someone who could push him, challenge him, and most importantly, help Red Bull defend its constructors' title. Tsunoda's call-up, in Max's view, was the opposite of that.
Max has been unhappy at
Exactly.
Red Bull. Obviously, it's been going on for the last year. We've known there's stuff going on behind the scenes, and this will obviously add fuel to the fire.
The deeper you looked, the worse it got. Multiple media outlets hinted that Red Bull's decision wasn't based on track performance or potential. It was based on pressure. Pressure from sponsors, pressure from Honda, pressure to create a feel-good story at Suzuka. And the result? A choice that Max Verstappen reportedly saw as weak and politically motivated. Not something a top team should ever allow to happen. And the fallout? It didn't take long for it to leak into the public.
He said, yes, the pressure is insane, but in my opinion, this comes closer to bullying or a panic move. They gave Liam 2 races only to crush his spirit.
Just days after the Red Bull Dubai meeting, De Telegraaf dropped a bombshell. Their April 2025 article revealed Max's true feelings, anger and frustration. According to De Telegraaf, Max was privately raging at the decision-making chaos inside Red Bull. The newspaper stated explicitly that Max was deeply concerned about the team's growing instability. It wasn't just about Lawson being fired so abruptly. It was about what it said regarding Red Bull's leadership.
That have just seen this happen to Liam. They know Liam, they've grown up with Liam.
Oh, mate, Isaac Hadjar was probably quaking in his boots.
Max, who usually keeps his frustrations behind closed doors, had let his inner circle know he was worried that Red Bull was losing its edge. Smart strategic decisions were being replaced with knee-jerk reactions. And worse, political decisions were creeping into what should have been pure racing calls. That was everything Max hated.
Yeah, it's coming from the Dutch newspaper De Telegraaf, and we know De Telegraaf has really good inside sources. That is the main Dutch national newspaper, and, focuses solely on Red Bull and, of course, focuses solely on.
De Telegraaf sources went even further. They reported that Max was deeply skeptical about whether Yuki Tsunoda could handle the pressure of being his teammate. Max wasn't worried about speed. Anyone can have good days and bad days in F1. He was worried about something far more critical at Red Bull: mental strength. In the brutal environment Red Bull is famous for, where one bad weekend can destroy a career, emotional toughness isn't optional. It's everything. And Max, according to De Telegraaf, had serious doubts about whether Yuki had that toughness.
Max is not happy, and it wouldn't surprise me. And if Max is not happy with this situation, does that again draw into all this speculation as to what might happen with Max and where he might go in the future?
Yuki entered Formula One in 2021 with AlphaTauri, now Racing Bulls, under the Honda-Red Bull partnership. From the beginning, he showed flashes of speed, but the flashes were all they were. Over 4 full seasons, Tsunoda built a reputation for being one of the most emotional and error-prone drivers on the grid. It became almost routine to hear Yuki yelling on team radio during races, berating his team, himself, or the car. His radio outbursts became so famous that F1's official YouTube channel even compiled Best of Yuki Tsunoda Radio Meltdowns videos every season.
Max was actually going to be involved in this meeting as well to discuss who his potential teammate might be and to determine, should we keep faith with Liam just that little bit longer, or would you want to see Yuki alongside him?
On track, it wasn't much better. In 2022 and 2023, Tsunoda averaged just 1.7 points per race. He frequently made rash moves under pressure, resulting in avoidable penalties and poor finishes. Compared to other Red Bull Academy drivers, his consistency was far below expectations. Even Racing News 365 noted in their season-end analysis that Yuki's main issue wasn't speed, it was mental collapse when things went wrong.
Quite extraordinary.
Unheard of.
I can't recall something like this. Giving a driver just 2 races and then saying, "You're out, mate."
And that's exactly the problem. Max Verstappen doesn't just need any teammate. He needs someone calm, fast, and mentally stable. A driver who can collect points reliably and help Red Bull win Constructors' Championships. Verstappen is already dragging an unpredictable Red Bull RB21, which even he admitted has balance problems after China 2020, to incredible results. Adding a teammate prone to emotional implosions only creates more volatility.
The driver who a lot of the fans believe probably deserves to be the angriest in this entire situation is Daniel Ricciardo, because of course he was replaced by Liam with 6 races to go last season, and we know that Daniel's goal, his big dream, was this fairy tale return to Red Bull to kind of end his career.
The data makes it worse. In Committee, Liam Lawson, who only replaced Daniel Ricciardo after his hand injury at Zandvoort, managed to be competitive with Yuki almost immediately. Over 11 races where both finished, Yuki only beat Liam 6 times to Lawson's 4. In qualifying, it was 11-4 in favor of Yuki. But considering Lawson had no preseason testing and was thrown straight into the car, it's hardly a crushing domination. Racing News 365's Ian Parks even pointed out that many paddock insiders believed Lawson showed more composure under pressure than Yuki did. Yet, Red Bull decided to promote Tsunoda, after 4 full years of mid-level performances, into arguably the second most important seat in F1. For a team that once prided itself on ruthless excellence, this move screams desperation, not strategy.
He will know. Racing Bulls knew, or RB as it was last year, V-Carb, whatever you want to call it. Red
Which
Bull
name?
knew. Yeah. And Red Bull knew that.
Yeah.
Now after this, the risk for Red Bull is massive. If Liam Lawson gets sent back to Racing Bulls and immediately starts out qualifying or out-racing Yuki Tsunoda, who is now in a better car at Red Bull, it would be a disaster. Headlines would write themselves, "Red Bull promotes the wrong driver." It would also confirm the worst suspicions floating around the paddock, that Red Bull's management decisions are no longer based on racing merit, but politics, favoritism, and pressure from outside partners. The team that built its dynasty on picking the best talent, Vettel, Ricciardo, Verstappen, would look completely incompetent. And incompetence is the last thing Red Bull can afford right now, because their empire is already starting to crumble from within. Do you believe the same? If so, then drop your most brutal thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button.